Good morning, Final Cut Pro Help viewers. If you're watching this live, awesome. Go ahead and drop a comment in there if you have any questions that you want answered, and I'd be happy to get them to you. Hopefully get some little demos in here. I have two things I want to talk about today very quickly. Two questions that came in. The first one was around multicam editing and trying to get the clips synced, and what is the best way to sync all of your clips that you have together. So I'm going to give a quick demo on that and some tips around syncing clips with audio and all that good stuff. And then the other part of it was with clips that have been recorded using like a dual mono setup where you don't have stereo audio coming off your equipment. Maybe you have one microphone recorded on the left channel and a separate microphone is recorded on the right channel, but you want to take one of those channels and mix them together into stereo. So we're going to show that demo as well. So first, let's take a look at the multicam editing and how that gets done. So these are the clips that you have up here, and you can see we have this hike going on. So we're actually going to take these clips and sync them together into a multicam clip. And if you don't know what that is, you'll see what it is in a couple seconds when we get it synced. But essentially, this little hike, if you've seen other demos on my channel here, this was a hike that I did, a little trail run, just running down this hill, but I shot it from multiple angles, multiple cameras, and also we have a microphone that was set up just to get the audio. That's what this blue clip is down here. So we want to sync all of these together to make it easy to edit and cut between those clips. So there's a couple ways you can do it, but the first thing you're going to want to do is select the clips. So you can do this by holding Shift or holding Command and then clicking on each of the clips that you want to sync together. So in this case, I have all of these except this mono fireworks shot. We're going to use that for the other demo. Once you have those clips selected, you can go up to the menu bar, or I like to just right click, or if you don't have a right click, you can do Control click, and you'll get this little menu, and you can just say New Multicam Clip. And what that tells Final Cut to do is take all the clips that are selected and combine them into a multicam clip. But you're going to get this menu before it actually does that, saying how do you want to sync these clips together and merge them into the multicam clip. You might not see all these additional options here. If that's the case, there's this button in the lower left corner that says Use Custom Settings. So if you don't see all those other settings, that's normal. You're going to see this little screen that's here. So before you do any of this, the first thing I recommend doing is naming that multicam clip. Naming and keeping your stuff organized is really important. So this we're just going to call our trail run. And it's going to put it in today's date for the event. If you have a starting time code and the way you want to keep things organized, you can also customize that here, just like any project or other type of clip that you create. And then there's this option that says Use Audio for Synchronization. So I'm going to keep it just like that. I'm not going to use any of the custom settings. We're just going to use audio and click OK to see what happens. Now this part can take some time depending on how quick your computer is and how long the clips are. There's a lot of factors that go into this part of it. But essentially what's happening here is it's trying to use the waveforms on those audio clips to match up and sync these clips. And the question that came through that I got was, how accurate is this? Is this something that works every single time? No, the answer is no. This is something that if it works on the first shot, that's awesome. You have a really great setup. But most of the time, you're going to have something similar to what I have, where these clips, all the cameras, they don't have great microphones on them. In some cases, a lot of multicam shoots, the cameras themselves actually don't have don't have audio on them, so the multicam feature is not going to be able to sync them up with audio. Now, just finished, so let's take a look at this clip. We can see it's a multicam clip because of the little squares in the top left corner. And if you just double click on a multicam clip, it's going to open up all of the different angles down in your timeline in the project area. So I'm going to hit the little customization here to shrink those clips so you can actually see them all on the screen at the same time. And what you'll notice is in this case we have 4 angles. I have the audio clip at the top, and then we have one of the cameras, second camera, and the third camera with the name of the camera showing up, and that's how it synced each of those together. So what you'll see is with this uphill clip, It actually broke it up into 2 clips because it was so long. And now I'm not going to bore you by going into the details here, but this did not sync the clips correctly. They're not synced up. If I were to go through each of these, you'd see that they're not synced up. You can, right in this little window, just click and drag a clip, either left or right, to adjust its position. And this is what you're most likely going to have to do. Even if it gets a near perfect sync, you're probably going to want to adjust these things by 1 or 2 frames, either to the left or to the right, to get those more in sync, to have more of a perfect match between each of your clips. Now, in addition to moving those things left and right, you can also go here and edit parts out or merge clips together. So if it did, in this case, we have this the EOS Digital with my uphill clip, and there's 2 parts to this. They should be together, but if they don't need to be together, you can click and drag these and move them around. You can also use your control clicking or right clicking to add additional clips. You'll see these little drop-down menus on the left. You can go over there and add an angle, delete an angle, and do a lot of other customizations in the multicam part. That gets more into the actual multicam editing, which I have another video on the channel that you can watch for that part of it. But I'm going to talk about a couple other ways that you can try to start creating this multicam clip, because clearly here the audio didn't do a good job. So if that's the case, if we want to try it again, just go into your browser, right-click, control-click on it, and use Move to Trash or Command-Delete to delete that multicam clip. It's no big deal because we're just going to create another one using the original clips. So again, to create the multicam clip, select your clips, and then right-click, control-click, and then say New Multicam Clip. So the first way that we tried to do was using the audio for synchronization. That didn't work, so we're going to go into our Use Custom Settings. And in these settings, in addition to being able to customize how the video looks, maybe HD, 4K, those different settings, you'll see there's also this option for angle synchronization. And there's a couple options here, which usually automatic's a good place to start. But if automatic didn't work, then you can go down here and maybe sync it by time code. If all of your devices, like your audio recorder and your cameras, are all synced up using time code, this is a great way to sync those all together. That's usually more of a professional setup. You'll have more expensive equipment to get that time code to all the different devices. So yeah, we have those different options there. We can use the first clip, content created. But what I like to use a lot of times is this one, the first marker on the angle. So if I go back, I'm going to hit cancel and go back to my browser here. And you'll notice I've put a marker on each of these clips. To do that, just scrub through your clip, find the spot you want to put the marker on, and hit the letter M on your keyboard for marker. And that'll put it on there. And essentially what you can do is put where you want all these clips to sync together using that marker. And then when we go in and create our multicam clip, under our custom settings, we can say use that first marker on the angle to synchronize it. And I can still use audio for synchronization, and it'll try to adjust things as it sees fit to sync those together. But having that marker on the clip then allows it to really just put the clips right there. You can see it was a lot faster to sync them together. And if I shrink this back down, these are all synced up correctly at this point using those markers, which is really nice. Now you'll notice on my uphill clip, because it was broken up into 2 clips, it didn't actually sync this correctly, but that's okay. I can just click and drag this to the left to put that where it's supposed to be, because that should be one continuous clip in this case. And yeah, that's kind of what you would do for syncing those together. So again, the kind of summarizing, the initial question was, if I use audio for synchronization, is it perfect? No, definitely not. None of these options are going to be perfect. You'll want to go in and adjust all of these, but it's very easy to do that. Just double click on your multicam clip, brings it up into each of those angles. You'll be able to see it, set where those need to be, and then you're good to go. Definitely, if you're new to multicam, watch the other multicam videos on this channel. I go into a lot more detail on how you should organize these, naming clips, all that kind of stuff. And especially things like viewing the angle viewer, bringing that up. I mean, that's one of the most useful things for multicam, so you can see all of your clips together. That's basically the main reason to do that. All of these settings on here, you'll see all of that in those videos. So now that that's set up, the next question I want to answer is around audio. And it's specifically the mono audio coming in, how to change from mono to stereo. So there's a few different ways to do that, but let me show you the clips that I have. I'm going to hide my angles, and we don't actually need the project down at the bottom right now. We'll come back to that in a second. So here's this clip with some fireworks going off. And if you notice down here, I have the audio view right underneath your viewer. You'll see this when you're playing audio. If I scrub through this other audio clip here, you can see the little green line that's bouncing up and down. You can actually click on that to view a larger version of it over on the right side of your timeline. So that's what we're going to do, just so you can see those clips. So hopefully that'll make it a little bit easier to see what's happening here. I'm going to use Command N, create a new project. This will just be an audio project. And let's go ahead and drag this mono audio clip with these fireworks down onto the project. I'm going to use one of my favorite shortcuts, Shift-Z, to fit that clip onto the timeline. And we'll use the clip appearance just to stack this up a little bit. And let's view a larger version of that waveform at the bottom here. So you notice this waveform, you can see that this clip does have audio. And if I play it, you can see on the right side that green line going up. There's only one of those. There's only one channel on this clip. It's only on the left side that it recorded these fireworks going off. So even though it is a stereo clip, you can see there are two channels. All the audio is on the left side, but we actually want that to be stereo, so it's not just coming out of one speaker. So there's a couple ways you can fix this, but I recommend doing it up in the browser. Select that clip, and then it'll fix it anywhere that you're using that clip. So with it selected, I'll go over into the inspector. And there's a couple different inspectors at the top right here. Make sure you're in the audio inspector. And you'll see you have things like volume, audio enhancements. But then there's this option for pan mode. And the panning is basically where do you want to put that audio. You can put it on the left side, right side. If you're working with surround sound, you can put it in the back right, front right, wherever you want to set that up. But Final Cut doesn't know how you want to treat these clips. So you're going to go in here and select it. If you choose none, it's just going to assume and try to figure out what it is. But in this case, we do know it's a stereo clip. So I'm going to select stereo here, left, right. And you'll see my options for panning these and where it can go. So this is one way that you can adjust these clips and choose where that audio goes. But in this case, if I pan this over to the right side, it's not actually going to play out of the right side. It's still coming out of the left side for this clip because there's no audio over on that right side. So we actually have to change the audio configuration down here. So let me select my clip again. We'll go into the inspector. I'm going to change this back to none for the pan mode because we don't really need to adjust that in this case. And notice here it's set to a stereo audio pair. So again, this is in the audio inspector under audio configuration. To the right here, there's an option that says stereo. You're actually going to click on this and change it to dual mono because we want both the left and the right channel to act independently of each other. So I'm going to click on dual mono, and now we can actually see both of those channels together. So the top one, this dialogue 1, that's our left channel, and the bottom one is our right one. We only need the left one in this case. So that one's there, but now each of these channels, we can actually click on them and change different roles with them that are all independent of each other. So that's great, right? We have that set up. Now, if I click and delete this clip off the timeline, well, let me play it just to remind you on the right side here. Notice how it's just coming out of the left channel. If I delete this and then bring it down again from the project and play it, notice now we have two channels, left and right, in sync. They're going to have the same audio. You're not going to have actual stereo effects or anything. You're not going to hear fireworks going off on the left or the right because it is a mono recording, but we now have that audio coming out of both sides, both the left and the right. All right, so again, just to summarize, if you get a clip, just select that clip, go into the audio inspector, and then under audio configuration, change it to dual mono, and you should be good to go at that point. If for any reason that doesn't work, go into the pan modes. You can use that to adjust your stereo and make other more fine changes to what's going on there. So those are the questions that I had for today. If you have questions of your own, don't hesitate. You can send them in an email to me, just to finalcutprohelp@me.com. You can also go on to Instagram, instagram.com/finalcutprohelp, or use @finalcutprohelp on most of the social medias out there. If I don't respond after a while, send me another message. I might have just missed it. And yeah, if you got anything else, don't hesitate. We're here. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of your day.